I guess I'll try this again. I turned my phone and the video went sideways, and don't you hate that when that happens? Don't turn your phone, basically. Okay, question. Will a 1973 Firebird or Pontiac tilt steering column work in your Chevelle? It's a 1971 Chevelle steering column, 1973 Pontiac Firebird tilt steering column, floor shift. The answer is yes, but there are differences. So, all right, let me start at the beginning. We'll start at the bottom of these columns, and we'll talk about the differences in them. Okay, the blue one came out of my 71 Chevelle, which is currently sitting on its side. I built a wooden rotisserie, so I can work on the bottom of the car, clean off all that stuff down there is. It's all the undercoating. Okay, anyway, the difference are, if you look at the plate, that plate right there is off the tilt steering column Pontiac. That plate there is for off my Chevelle. It is different, but the nice thing is it just has two screws that hold it in place, one each side, and the screws that will come right off. This has tack welds that hold it in place. I can grind those tack welds, cut that thing off, take that off there, put it on here, problem solved. So that's one thing. So yep, these columns are the exact same length. Even the mounts are in the same spot. So we got this mount here and this mount here, same spot. These screws, the bolts that hold the mount in place, will not cross. You can't use them. I think the Pontiac is either metric or it's a finer thread, but you cannot thread these nuts, or the bolts, I mean, into here. They won't thread in. So that's another difference, is that the bracket is the same, the bolts are not. So you have to have the correct bolts for your Pontiac Firebird steering wheel mount, or steering mount for your frame. All right. Another difference is, all right, this here is your, I'm going to turn this over so you can see. Both these columns, or your steering columns, this is your key selector for starting the car, accessories, there's a hole right there. If you look at this right here, as I turn the key, we'll slide this in there. And actually, I got it backwards. I need to turn it like that. Yeah, I got it on that. Or yeah, you move down there. All right, so as I turn the key, that rod pushes, and then it starts, and it pops back. That's what basically this does. All right. On the Chevelle steering column, now I don't know if this is because this is a straight steering column and this is a tilt steering column, but with the straight steering column, when you turn the key forward, it pushes down on that rod. So when you turn the key forward, push starts, and it pops back. You know, how a key rebounds. That's what this does. There's a spring in this right here. There's a spring right there that shoves it back. On this column, I don't know if it's because it's a Pontiac or if it's because it's tilt. I'll show what I mean. When I turn this key forward, if you watch that shaft, it's pulling it. On the Chevelle column, it pushes forward. This one pulls. So, yeah. So that will not move onto this. But the nice thing is, all the plugs are identical. This plug is identical to that plug. So this is a 71 Chevelle. This is a 73 Pontiac. The key selector, I guess that's what you call that. The pins are identical. So if I look at them here and here, all the pins line up, and the bracket, or the part that plugs in there, will plug right into that. Even this part is the same, but other than there's a couple extra wires on this one. But again, this is a column shift. This is a staple. I'm up a staple shifter in my Chevelle. So this is a floor shift tilt steering column. It does not have these last two wires. But this has all the other ones, and of course the white usually is common. It doesn't have that, but all the other wires, blue, pink, are the same up to the white wire. So from the green on down, like there's a black and yellow, that's just a yellow. I think that's because it's a tilt steering column and it uses a floor. This does not have column on the shifter on the column itself. Okay, So the plate's different, the bolts are different, and the key selector, it is different. It will not, these parts will not move back and forth. Okay. All right. Let's see. Anything else on this? Nope. That's it. Okay. Also, cost. All right. Here's the thing. I've rebuilt this. I ordered new bearings for it. The brand new indicator key selector on this, I think it was like 18 bucks. Brand new, $18. That wasn't crazy. I can't tell you how much I got new keys for this thing, but I ordered the whole kit. It's for my Chevelle, which is on its side. There's new trunk key, ignition key, both doors, and the glove box. There's a whole kit, so I can't tell you what that would cost you by itself. But I ordered the new, this is brand new, this is the old one, it's broken. They were supposed to come as a kit. I think I spent 20 bucks for new levers. But that is on back order, big surprise. So 20 bucks on that. I spent $100 on the steering column itself, but it was not complete. It was missing parts. I had to basically go on forums, look at exploded views of these diagrams to see what it was missing inside. Had to order a locking plate for it. Cause a locking plate on that stops the steering wheel from moving. Click. There's a locking plate. It was missing that. It was missing the horn relay, turn signal indicator canceller. It's the same. It's one piece of plastic about that big around. It was missing that. But I was able to, and it's missing the spring. I was able to use that in here. I probably should have just ordered another one. So, and it was also missing a little seat. There's a little, real small O-ring clip that locks everything in place. It was missing that. So a lot of parts I had to order, and I'm trying to think. I think total cost, because the steering column cost you $100. He was asking, I think, I think he was asking $200 for it. I did some wheeling dealing for it, and I got it for $100 because I brought him parts from I had lots of extra parts for my Chevelle. We did some swapping, and he knocked off the price on this. So I'm guessing you're going to spend about $200. And then to rebuild it, another $30 maybe. I'm not counting the key because I'm not sure how much the key would cost you. But the steering wheel itself, a separate deal. It did not have a steering wheel on it. I bought the steering wheel itself. It was a Monte Carlo steering wheel, 1970 Monte Carlo. I paid $75 for it. And then for the SS horn, I guess you call it horn shroud, that was $100. So total cost in the steering column for me was around, let's see, 100, 200 maybe, 225. But most of these guys on these, with their Chevelle stuff, they want a fortune for it. You know, they have an original steering column out of a 1971 Chevelle, this tilt steering, and they want $600 for something you have to totally rebuild anyway. You're going to spend another $100, you know, in parts, possibly rebuilding it. And then I did it, sells a column like this but it does not come with some of the stuff, doesn't come with the plate. They may sell one for $800, or you can buy a nice one for over $1,000. So take your time, find the part, find the steering column. You can find them at a reasonable price. So now that said, here's something I highly recommend you get. This is a steering wheel puller from AutoZone, and it cost me $20, under 30. I know under 30. So here's the key that came out of this steering column. And study this. If you're going to do one going in, this is what you have to push down. That there is what locks this in place. So if you figure how far that went into there, you can find the slot. This real thin slot. You push down on that, and the key comes right out. So I hope that helps somebody. I mean, that's how I figured out how to get that thing out of there. Because I saw a guy destroy a steering column on the video. I'm like, what an idiot. Okay, so, and this is the spring that came with the kit I ordered. It was supposed to go in here. This thing is big, and it is super, super heavy. And I actually bent, I had to straighten the lock plate because this spring is just way too much. Again, you're looking at aftermarket parts. So try to buy a complete steering column. I was lucky having that one there. That one there, I'm probably going to give it away or sell it. I might, because how they, if you have to order a mounting plate, that thing's $125. So I had to order one. So, and I have 3 of those things. But another thing is, they have this little tool right here, and this is what you use to pull the pins out of the steering column for a tilt steering column. And I got this at AutoZone for under 30 bucks, and this is like $9 at O'Reilly or something like that, or Advanced. And you got to be careful. Don't break this little end here. It's threaded, and it threads into the little bolt, and then it sits like this. And as you tighten that nut down, I got it reversed right now so I won't lose the washers. The washers actually go on in front of that. And as you turn this nut, it pulls that pin up, but you got to watch because it can start rotating in on you at the same time. So you got to hold that top piece there, or you could end up snapping this off into that pin while you're trying to pull it out. So you hold that in place, start threading that nut down, and it pulls that pin right out. But again, these washers go on top of that, on top of this thing right here. So, steering wheel puller, pin puller for a tilt steering column. That's one of the bearings that go inside the column. One of the ones I replaced because it was missing a few. So, and when you do that, these things, this bearing will lock in there. If it just sits in there and falls out, then you got it upside down, flip it over, put it away, and it'll snap in place, and you can pop all the bearings back in. And I think that's it. All right. So I hope I can get this summer, when it warms up, get my body of my Chevelle, which is, I built a wooden rotisserie. It is sitting on its side right now in the garage. So I can scrape the bottom of it. And I got rhino liner for it. Everything's already purchased. So I can spray the bottom of that car, never rust again. And I got my baby, my 454 big block, 572 horsepower, 574 horsepower, 572 foot-pounds of torque. Here's the deal. Torque wins races, horsepower sells engines. So you actually want torque. That's what makes it smokes your tires. All right, there's the headers for it. Brand new powder coated frame, stainless steel fuel line, stainless steel everything. A 12 bolt rear end. I'm currently looking for a 12 bolt posi, but that is a 12 bolt. And then, of course, I got my wife's 1950 Chevy Rat Rod Deluxe. It does run, so I need to say, I got my work cut out for me this summer. But the biggest thing is get that body back on this frame. And when that's done, I have so much more room in here. So, but anyway. Yeah, oh, there's my seats I need to have restored. They need to be recovered. That's the same guy I got the tilt steering column from. And again, these seats cost me, I think, $450. And these guys are wanting $600-700 for seats that are basically, you're buying the plastic. You're basically buying the frame. All you're buying is the springs. That's it. So these guys want $800 for these for their seats that are just destroyed. These are in bad shape, but they're restorable. The springs are in good shape. They're just mild surface rust and stuff on them. The plastic parts are kind of but I was planning on replacing that anyway. I'm going with the white interior. So take your time looking for parts, because these guys are ridiculous on the parts, because they talk about, you know, it's an original part. It's got patina. No, it's an original part. It's 70 years old or 50 years old, and it's got damage. You know, like the dashboards, they want, you know, $500, $600, $700 for original Chevelle dash, and you can go on to OPG or go on to OPGI is one place I go to, and they have brand new Chevelle dashes for around $1,000 complete. So, and they're wanting that much for one that's got 50-year-old plastic. And think about it, you're buying this car and you're restoring it, and you're putting 50-year-old plastic in it, and well, in 10 years it's 60 years old, and in 20 years it's 70 years old. Plastic has a shelf life. It literally does. It gets brittle and it breaks. So spend the money to buy the parts you can to get new. I mean, that's my advice. Take your time and do it right. I mean, take your time to, and it's a pain. I mean, it's a long, drawn-out process if you're doing a frame off. So learn to weld. I mean, it's not that hard. Get yourself a little, I think on my Eastwood welder there, that thing works awesome. I got my plasma cutter down there, Eastwood welder. I got $250 in that little welder there with gas. You don't get if you're going to weld this stuff on these body, don't get the freaking flux wire, get gas. The plasma cutter is $150, if that. You do have to have an air compressor. So just figure out, I got a shipping container where I kept all my parts in. Okay, I'm done being dad. Hope that helps somebody. Got any questions, give me ask me. See if I can help. All right, good luck.